Okay, folks, here we go. We have people starting to stream on in, and I'll get a thumbs up from the team when we are streaming on Facebook. And we'll hopefully, everything will work and technology will come through for us today. But you never know, because it's technology. So
people are saying hi.
Oh, here come the people. Hello, hello. I see you. Hi, Sarah. Right.
Hello, Portugal.
And we are live on Facebook.
We are live on Facebook. Hello, Facebook. Welcome, everyone. Hope everybody's having a wonderful week so far. Off to a good start here on a magical Monday morning. And we're going to get started in just a few minutes. And we're hanging out in the meantime, letting folks pour on in both Zoom and on Facebook. I see a lot of folks jumping in the chat room in Zoom. Here's the thing about the chat room in Zoom. You have to change the drop down to say panelists and attendees, and please do that and let us know where you're tuning in from. It by default just says panelists, and so you all can't see each other, which is kind of weird and not a good default, but I can't find a setting to change it, so you have to change it yourself. So please do, if you haven't already, jump on into the chat room. Make sure that little drop down says panelists and attendees, and then let us know where you're all tuning in from. We do love to see that. If you're over on Facebook and you'd rather be on Zoom so that you can participate over here with the other folks, you're welcome to come and join us, or stay on Facebook. We're going to continue the live stream there. And either way is fine. There will be a link posted as a comment on the live stream in Facebook soon, if not already, by one of our team members. Folks tuning in from all over. We've got the Netherlands and Northern Ireland, which if you put Northern Ireland together really fast and say it too fast, it could sound like Netherlands. We've got Hilo, Hawaii, Portland, Oregon, Charlotte, North Carolina, Calgary, Alberta, Woodstock, Illinois. That's a cool name. Belgium, Norwalk, Ohio, Argentina, Bonnie Doon, Vancouver, BC, Madrid, New Zealand. Hello, everyone. So glad you could join us today for a little bit of tea with Lee. Claudia says it's raining cats and dogs. She's living in the water element. She's got her stream running in the yard, I guess. We're down the street. And welcome, Harper. Huge congratulations. Welcome, welcome, everybody. So it seems like we're mostly all here. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of quick, here's how this is going to go stuff. And here's how this is going to go. We're going to start out with a little bit of a hello and a meet and greet with Lee and potentially with some of Lee's new family members. Those of you who haven't heard, it'll be a big announcement. You probably have heard. And then we're going to do some sort of getting present, getting grounded. Lee will lead us on a little bit of a practice for that, and then we'll dive into some Q&A a little later. So if you have questions, you're welcome to ask them in the Q&A button of Zoom. We don't take them in the chat. It doesn't work. It's just too much chat. And so we are taking them in the Q&A button within Zoom. And we do have somebody standing by on Facebook also to collect them up from the comments thread over there. So if you want to ask questions and you're on Facebook, totally fine. Just put them in the comments thread. We'll get to as many of those as we can when Zach brings those over later. And if you want to ask questions on Zoom, hit that Q&A button and ask away. We'll get to as many as we can. So I am really stoked to be here with you, Lee. It's been a little while since I've seen you. And you were much more Santa Claus than you were last time I saw you.
I'm trying to look the part.
I think it's great, man. It's
playing for the seasons.
Exactly. This is the season to Santa up a little bit. And
plus, I pulled some all-nighters. You know, my grooming has fallen by the wayside.
Fair enough. Well, we can't smell you from here, so everything's fine. We'll enjoy the show anyway. And yeah, just really stoked to make the announcement. So we sent out an email about your new baby, but it had the wrong name.
I know. It's Harper Ray. We changed it.
So we have a beautiful addition, Harper Ray Holden.
Yeah, who's nursing right now with mom,
right
next to me.
We'll meet Harper in just a moment.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, I hear her.
I'm drinking this. I got tea in this today. So
Great.
Yeah, it's a new cup.
You got to see how the other half lives, right?
Oh, here we
Incoming.
go. Oh, goodness. Here we go. Hi, guys. We got dressed up for you today.
Sure did.
We did. And she's not happy that nursing stopped just a little short to say hi to you guys.
Definitely understand.
We'll give her back to mom, and then she'll come back and say hi again.
Sounds good. Got priorities. That little kid. She's already like, I know my priorities.
That's a sign of good lung chi right there.
Yes. Well said. Well, I think that's just amazing. And gosh, what a tiny little creature. It's just astounding.
She's so amazing. Yesterday I was, we're babies, it's good to put them in the sun. So I had her little naked body outside in the sunshine and just holding her. And she was just like cooing and loving it. And we were doing some mild forms of Qigong, a little shaking, a little knocking, a little Qi massage. And she was just in Qi heaven. It was my moment yesterday.
That's great. So happy for you, and a lot of positive energy coming at you from the chat room, and obviously people have been sending in emails and congratulations. So thanks to everyone who's been doing that. Those of you in the chat, I see a lot of you are still using panelists. Would really love to have you change that little thing up there to say panelists and attendees so you all can see each other. And it's not just us. That'd be great. Thank you very much. Cool, man. Well, while we're sort of waiting for the baby to reach a level of satisfaction where she'd be happy to be on camera instead.
Yes.
Aside from,
I'm drinking Trinity today.
Excellent.
Out of this beautiful hand-painted little teacup.
Very.
It's a celebration. And
it's a little fuzzy. You're a little fuzzy.
Trinity.
It's what?
We almost named the baby Trinity.
That's right.
Because Hetty and I, on our first date, we drank Trinity. Oh. And the three factor in Taoism is always so big and kind of special. Mm-hmm. And we just like the name. And we watched The Matrix with my other children, and they said, Trinity, that's a cool name. And we said, yeah, that's a cool name. So now her nickname is Harpinity.
Harpinity.
Yeah.
It doesn't have quite the same ring to it.
It doesn't quite have the same ring, but she seems to respond well to it. Well, that's a little Harpinity. Yep,
Harpinity it is.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I'm drinking a little blend I put together today out of my little tiny teapot. This is a little brown, you can barely see it. There we go. It's a little brown teapot, and I've shown this off before, but I broke my favorite cup. That tall, used to be a guy one, had a lid, but I broke the lid years ago and said it became my daily drinker cup. So the only cup I have that's the right size for this now is a little more of a bowl, which I also love drinking out of, a little tea bowl. So this is
that's cool.
Here, blue and white, beautiful, painted brushwork, or stamped probably actually. This was not an expensive cup, so probably stamped.
Beautiful.
But yeah, it's a really pretty one, and it's a nice size it's just the right size for that teapot. And I'm going to see if I can repair the thing, because the bottom broke off. So it's actually like, I can stand it up on top of itself. So probably can repair it. And then it'll have this crack going all the way around it. You know what? I'm sorry, I had you spotlighted. Nobody could see my beautiful cup, my beautiful tea bowl. There we go. This is it. It's just like I said, it's stamped probably because I got it for $15 or whatever. It's not expensive or fancy or old. But it's cool, and I really like it, and it feels good in the hand. And when you start drinking out of tea bowls, you start to use two hands more often. And this one's still small enough I can use one. But I have a couple of bigger tea bowls that are just like, it's full focus, full meditation. Like, this is all you're doing is drinking tea, because it's just such a big, beautiful bowl.
With two hands, you're fully committed.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not reading, I'm not doing anything at all. I'm just doing tea and meditation. So that's a beautiful thing.
Mm.
The sun is biting me. So I would love it if you would take us on a little journey of becoming present before we dive into the rest of the stuff.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful.
Is this a good time?
Yeah, it's a good time. Yeah,
Other things
fantastic.
going on? Okay, great.
Let's pour ourselves a cup of tea. Harper's having a nice meal right now. We're all drinking. Oh, it's always quite a, an abundant mess with tea and babies.
Yeah.
There's spilling happening all over the place.
I gotta tweak my blinds.
Hi guys, I'm milk drunk. Here's to. Oh.
Okay, I'm ready.
Say hi to everybody.
Oh, look at that. Oh, incredibly precious.
I've found that doing healing sounds really close to her and a little chi massage puts her in a real good state of mind, even if she's a little fussy.
Wow. When you do tea massage, you just use your fingers like you're playing piano?
Yeah, I use this hand. Oh, I use this hand.
Ah,
nice. Then I use pressure points on her back.
That's amazing.
She likes it.
She seems to. She made a little happy face when you did that.
There's nothing as soft as a little baby cheek right here.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Well, how about a toast to new life, new chi, the beginner's mind, a clean slate, a fresh perspective, and the most pristine form of love that you could ever ask for, right here.
Yeah. I'll drink to that.
Cheers, everybody.
Beautiful. Thanks, Mr. Holden.
Let me introduce you to baby's mom. This is Hetty.
Hey, good to see you. You look much relieved.
Yes. Yes.
It is.
What a beautiful, precious creature you've created there. Wow. I'm so happy for you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, well, thanks everybody. I'm so glad I was able to make it on our tea today. I'm glad she was able to make it too. If she doesn't get a fresh cup, like immediately when she wants it, man.
I'll tell you what, man, it's like you got to have that pitcher at the ready every second.
Oh, you do.
Little
you know what that's like, right, Ben?
Yeah, I do. I usually don't cry with quite that tone, but I might be like tapping the table. Where's my tea? Yeah. Well, beautiful, man. I'm so glad that you were able to join us. And I know our crowd here is super happy to meet Harper.
Oh, I know. It's been so wonderful to get all the support and see the people commenting in the chats and getting some emails and all kinds of love from our community. So thank you all.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Well, since we're here,
we'll answer some questions.
I guess we might as well. And finally placed my first order of Trinity from Hidden Peak Tea House. Oh, good. It's a lovely.
Oh, yay.
Enjoy it. Yes, we are very excited to answer some questions and talk about stuff and talk about tea. I had some folks ask about the tea ceremony and the tea process, and was thinking that next time we got together, I would go ahead and kind of show them the ropes. But I forgot that next time we got together, it was going to be baby day.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we should save that for another time so that we can make sure to have as much time for Q&A and so forth as possible. So sorry to whoever I said I would show off the Gong Fu process. Next time we did tea with Lee, it's going to be the next time. So we'll get to that next time. Mr. Holden, so we got a lot of Qs pouring in the Q&A. Those of you who haven't asked yet or who didn't hear me earlier, please jump into, if you're in Zoom, jump into the Q&A button and put your questions in there. And then that way we can kind of keep track of them. We are also on Facebook collecting any questions that hit the comments. And because they're busy with that, we aren't going to be able to gather any questions out of the chat room and pass those along. We have plenty landing in the Q&A, so please do put yours there if you would like. A little later, we may have time to have a few folks come up on camera with us and ask their questions directly. And then, of course, those of you who are subscribers have opportunities to ask questions during the Q&A during each of the classes that we've been doing since we started doing them all over Zoom. And today, it's actually going to be Lee's mother, who has graciously agreed to, during her subclass today, also do a Q&A section. And so we're wondering what kind of questions we'll get and how many of them will have to do with Lee's childhood.
That'll be fun.
She's fully prepared for that. She's kind of excited about it. So,
hey, everybody, be nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, they will. So, Lee, shall we just start pouring through?
Yeah, I see a nice question to start with from one of our teachers, Holly Pardo.
Hey, Holly Pardo.
It's relevant to our seasons. So, does Taoism celebrate the winter solstice in any special way? And there's some really interesting things happening astrologically right now with Jupiter and Saturn so close together in the horizon. I think that only happens once every 800 years or so. I know it's a start of a new cyclical, energetic, astrological event as well. I'm not going to speak to the astrology of it, but there is some definite new Qi happening planetarily and in the universe right now.
Mm-hmm.
Winter is a time in Taoism, when you line up to the energy that's coming in, it's a time to go inward. It's related to the water element. And so when we think of winter, we think of the depth. Water always flows to the deepest areas. And how that's relevant to you, maybe in our personality, in our own psyche, it's about discovering our authenticity, our truth at our deepest level, our deepest core, to tune into who we are and to go inward and to discover those inner truths, so that as we move back into spring, we take all that wisdom, which is a winter energy, wisdom and inner truth, we bring that into our into the spring season, where it's about creativity and creative from that space and moving into our work and out into the world with all those new insights and depth and connection of who we truly are as we move into spring or back out into the world. So I think with the planets as they are, with all this influx of energy, right now is a really great opportunity to tune into our depth, our truths, to connect maybe a little bit more in our meditations, spend a little bit more quiet time, sitting by the fire, meditating, doing some breath work, reading a good book, tuning into what's truly important to you and what's in your hearts and what's in your souls. And that's what winter is asking us to do. So it's a perfect time for that contemplative practice, maybe some journaling as well. But the solstice being the darkest time of year, for me, that's what it's really about. Going into the darkness, as the first passage of the Tao Te Ching states, it says, basically to tune in to the darkness within darkness, the gateway to all understanding. And so when we tune into that yin energy, which is darkness, it's really the fertile soil for creation, to bring that yang energy out in the right timing.
Beautiful thing. Yeah, that peak yin of the solstice, where it turns around and starts to become, the yang begins to grow again as the yin recedes, is such a beautiful image to me, and the process of starting to live more and more in flow with that, right? So not running around doing all sorts of crazy stuff over the last couple of months compared to how active you are in the summer and so forth. And then as we experience that peak yin, and then new things can come in, right? That beginning of the growth of yang. It's like start new projects, start to do new things, start to become more active on whatever it is that's been. For me, it's this, I guess, almost like a gestation process, right? It's like now you can go out there and start to actually bring it into the world as we turn this corner and start to get yang growth happening again.
Yeah.
Cycle of yin and yang.
Some people give birth to babies and some people just give birth to ideas.
Well, I'm a Sagittarius too, so I'm all for having more Sagittarians in the world.
Yeah, I know, right? Exactly.
All right, that's a beautiful one. And
yeah. And one more thing to think about that I just, that just came to mind is even in our culture with the pandemic and whatnot, if we can get comfortable with this winter energy, the solstice energy, because we're spending a lot more solitary time, not as much fire element socializing as we might be used to, we can really take that winter energy, that water energy, to spend some time with close family or in solitary, to really tune in and have that opportunity to go inward, to really know ourselves and our place in the universe. And another Lao Tzu saying, without leaving the house, you can know the whole universe. Mm-hmm. And so that's, I think, where we're sitting right now with this opportunity. And I think there'll be a nice flow of energy coming into spring and summer. Maybe we'll be able to, culturally move back into getting together in various forms. And so taking this opportunity to really tune into your truth, so that when you do come back out into the world with all this new energy with summer and with spring and summer, it's aligned to your highest values, your truth, your authenticity, your integrity, so that you're not wasting a lot of energy just doing busy work that's not in alignment with your truth. So there we have it.
There we have it. Well, that's a beautiful answer. And I think it's a question, as with so many things in this sphere, it's like, within the Taoist spheres, how are we living in flow with nature? Yeah. And nature has these cycles built into it. And so I think it's a question that everybody's could benefit from. So I'm glad you did that one.
Nice follow-up questions from Deb. Any tips using Qigong when exercising in the cold weather, like winter hiking? Mm-hmm. So while we're on the topic of winter, what do we do in the cold weather? So what we like to do often is bring in some fire. How do we bring in fire? We do it culturally. We get together with friends and family, Christmas and holidays. We do all this gift giving and sharing. Those are all fire qualities in the season of winter. But since we can't do maybe a lot of those typical community building types of rituals, think of some ways you can bring a little more fire into your life. And it could be just Qigong exercises like igniting inner fire, or massaging points along the heart meridian, doing a little bit more fanning the fire breath work. I like doing some breath work that's a little more fire oriented to stoke the inner fire, so that your internal energy is warm to meet the external cold. And this is sort of what the Tibetans used to do in the minus 20s, is to do a certain breathing exercises to stoke their inner fire, so that they wouldn't be affected by the cold in adverse ways. And so fanning the fire is a quicker breathing where you, and it comes from your abdomen. You're really moving the energy in the abdomen, and that can warm things up. And it's also a good opportunity to also do some water element movements, like the fountain, and use the energy of winter to really build the kidney reserves and the water element reserves. So I like thinking of this time as the balance between fire and water. And when fire and water are balanced, what do you get? You get steam. When the fire is under the water, you get this wonderful steaming energy, which is called the elixir in Qigong and in Taoism. So warm things up, breathe slow and deep, fan the fire, and that's a great winter training.
Well, I think also there's a follow-up question, and that's sort of relevant also, I think it's the same, Deb. And it says, can you use Qigong to raise your body temperature? A couple of weeks this time, my temp was just above 95. Wonder if she can raise it using Qigong. Can we have Harper answer this question, please?
Harper, what do you think? If you nurse hard enough, everything is fine. Another nickname is Baby Pterodactyl because she can let out some really good pterodactyl screams. That seems to warm things up too.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Doesn't it?
Okay, so tell me the question again, Ben. I got segued.
Oh yeah, you're a little distracted, are you? Understandable. Deb also, I think, asked basically the follow-up question, can you use Qigong to raise your body temperature? I think she means kind of her core body temperature, because she says a couple times this week, my temperature was just above 95.
Okay.
Which for those of you who don't live in the US, I don't know what that is, but it's lower than normal.
Yeah.
Wondering if she could raise it using Qigong.
Mm.
And there's sort of an overlapping question, I guess, about.
Yeah, I think 95 is low, so you might want to check and see if there's anything going on. If there's nothing going on, then yes, you can use Qigong to raise your body temperature. In fact, one technique is very slow breathing in and out of the nose, and it's regulating to body temperature, homeostasis of all kinds. So your body wants to be in balance, and you change your temperature a little bit, or you change your energy a little bit. It's not many degrees off that homeostasis that will make you feel a little weird. So in and out through the nose, slowly, maybe 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, it's regulating. So it brings you back to that homeostasis. And that is a good practice when you're just feeling off balance, maybe foggy headed. If you want to raise body temperature, you could do fanning the fire and then that slow breathing. Or if you're going to do a whole Qigong practice, do igniting inner fire, swimming dragon, the tiger, those kinds of invigorating exercises to really warm things up, along with then some slow breathing and flows will also help to balance as a little more robust practice.
That's great. And I believe that a very similar answer would be for Sherry's question, is there a program for weight loss? And I don't remember what to do to increase your metabolism, because a lot of those movements you just mentioned are used to ignite that inner fire and the digestive fire and increase the metabolism that way. So would you say that those are kind of the same movements you'd recommend?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Those are great metabolism. Fanning the fire, tiger, turtle, with some digestive flows, like, pebble in the pond, adding some of those digestive energy flows can be really good.
Yep.
We have the workshop Qigong for healthy digestion that would probably be helpful for weight loss as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Harper obviously agrees.
She does. One way to increase metabolism is by breastfeeding too. So anybody
I'll
wants
work on that. I got a few pounds to lose. So here, send her over here.
Yeah.
You might be a little hungry after, but I'll try.
Yeah. I took her with my shirt off on the second night. We were middle of the night, 3 a.m., trying to figure it out, new parents. And I was holding her bare chested, and she latched onto me real quick and just sent me through the roof. It was really funny. She didn't like it. I didn't particularly care for it, but we had a moment.
Yeah.
It was way too fuzzy, wasn't it?
Here's a great question for you. Grace asks, one of my friends with a lot of health issues would really benefit from Qigong. How can I persuade without being pushy about the benefits? Her mind is made up, right? A lot of excuses, no time, wouldn't help me, etc. Do you have any suggestions for that?
I know that's the thing, right? We feel the benefits of Qigong. We want our loved ones, our friends to do it. We get excited. We start talking about it, and that is a great question. And it's something that we have, even as a business, trying to figure out, because we want people to get the benefits of this practice. We want people to be healthy and happy and have inner resources to overcome stress and whatever problems they might be facing in their lives, to have those extra tools and resources, that extra energy. And so we get excited about it and we start talking about it and telling people. I mean, there's a few answers. One is you live it, and people start to say, hey, what are you doing that is making things go so well in your life? And you seem like more energized, more balanced. by you living it, people start to inquire, and by them inquiring, you get to answer their questions. Sometimes if we tell people about it and push, they tend to resist. We make it really easy. We say, hey, why don't you just try 7 minutes a day for 30 days? Can you commit to 7 minutes a day? Let's do a little challenge. And that's our answer. We just say, let's do 7 minutes. You can try it. If it doesn't work for you after those 30 days or even a week, maybe it's not for you, but just try it for a couple of times. Maybe try a 20-minute class in this first month. Maybe try an hour class. We'll do it together and have fun with it and see how they feel. And then once they feel it, once they get that hit of qi, it can be quite addicting in a positive way. And that's what we want to do. We want to get hooked on positive habitual patterns in our life that elevate us, that make us feel good, that step by step we're taking steps each and every day to increase our energy, to clear our stress, to get in better shape, to calm our minds, and to connect to the universe. And that's what QiGong can do in a short amount of time. And so if they really hear that, it can be very persuasive. And sometimes I ask people what their goals are. What's your goals? What do you want to accomplish today, this week in your life? And then I explain the benefits of QiGong in very simple, practical ways that they can use it for accomplishing those goals.
Well, I think that's a great answer, but then again, nobody actually heard anything you said because they're completely distracted by your beautiful baby.
Yeah.
So hopefully somebody got some value out of the words flowing into their brain while they were just staring at this beautiful creature.
Yeah. I mean, this, like the pristine energy of a new baby is just
Exactly.
it's so amazing.
I love having this.
But
sorry, say that last bit again.
I said hard work, but exquisite. Like the energy the babies have are just so pure. It's just incredible. So that's another thing. For example, when you're a new parent, if you have energy, you enjoy the babies more. If you're depleted, like you don't have help and you're depleted, sleep deprived, it's hard to get that enough altitude in your energy state to really enjoy the preciousness of it because you're just in survival mode. So part of QiGong helps you get out of survival mode so that you really enjoy the things in your life. I mean, we'll dip into survival mode, we'll get stressed out, but with more energy, it's easy to navigate your way out of it. Because out of survival, where do you go? You start investing into the heart, which is where the joy. Oh, there's 4.
She's a 4 sneezer?
She's a 3 or 4 sneezer.
Interesting.
I've been blessed. I think that's a confirmation of what I'm saying. Like, indeed,
it's full of
survival into the heart. That's what you do with QiGong practice, and a consistent one. You just have a lot more energy to enjoy the things that are precious in your life.
Yep. Beautiful thing. For those of you who also asked questions about the solstice and about what to do during the solstice, I've gone through and I've checked a lot of those and said answer live because several people had a similar question about QiGong for the solstice and what it means, etc. So he answered that. Let me do this. I'm going to pull a couple more for you since your hands are full.
That'd be great.
One of the questions that came up is an interesting question. Well, actually, they preface this by saying, I don't know if you want to address this or not, but what are your views about mixing cannabis with QiGong? A doctor in California prescribed cannabis to this person as a cancer treatment. Do you see any conflict with the QiGong practice?
No conflict if that's a prescription from a doctor. In fact, cannabis is a Chinese herb that goes way back, and it was used like all herbs. They're used in the right timing for the right purpose and for the right person.
Right.
And so one herb isn't always good for every single person. It's person specific. So cannabis can be great for anxiety and sleep and calming and yin and taking the edge off. It does have some anti-cancer properties, and when people are going through cancer treatments, it can be an anti-nausea. So right time, right purpose, right person. And so that's the beauty of Chinese medicine and herbal medicine, is that it doesn't say one herb is good for everybody. And we look at our energy system and we say, oh, I'm running hot, but this person's running cold. For me, a cooling herb, for them, a warming herb makes sense. So that's how you want to use it, and those prescriptions. And but there's no conflict between cannabis and qigong practice. In fact, it can be useful into that relaxation. You just want to make sure you get the dosage right with the practice. So,
yep, well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, cannabis is such an interesting thing, because it was when here in the US, when the outlawing of marijuana took place, a couple of years later, or like a year later, the American Medical Association said, wait a sec, you were talking about cannabis this whole time? No, we use that for all sorts of stuff, because the whole William Randolph Hearst and the trying to outlaw basically hemp. And so creating this term, or bringing this term marijuana from Mexico and calling it the devil's weed. Well, the AMA didn't know they were talking about cannabis. And so it kind of got through. And then they were like, we use that all the time. We need it.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So it's an interesting bit of history there, not just in the Chinese medicine, but also in Western medicine.
Yeah. And like herbs, there's all kinds of different strains, types, more CBD for, anti-inflammatory purposes. Different strains can do different things to our bodies and minds.
Absolutely. Here's an interesting question. So there's somebody asking how to bypass. That's a close. Love it. There's somebody asking, I had a bypass and started Tai Chi and then went to Qigong. Notice you offer iron shirt Qigong. Is this the same type of Qigong that's used to throw people with energy? If not, what is?
It's a good question, huh? Somebody wants to do some magical powers. Those are great, fun questions. And there's specific training for that, for the martial arts purposes. Yes, iron shirt would be a good step in that direction, because it builds tremendous chi. The other one to do would be Buddha Palm. And I did notice that we sent something out for a discount on Buddha Palm this morning.
That's true.
Buddha Palm is a healing technique, but it influences somebody else's energy without touching them. And so you start to really feel the energy field and moving and shifting the energy within your body and somebody else's body. So both iron shirt and Buddha Palm would be those first, second, and third steps in those practices of developing and cultivating tremendous inner power. Yeah. And then there's other trainings to go into from there.
Yeah, we don't actually have a training on how to throw people around the room here, but as he said, like building up all that power in that particular type. Iron shirt's really about building up a lot of chi pressure. It's like inflating the chi tire, such that if people hit you with weapons, they bounce off, kind of thing. That's the background of it. But it turns out that they're incredibly good practices for health and longevity, because they realized that the monks and whatnot that were studying and mastering these techniques ended up living a really long time. So they pieced this stuff together. The Buddha Palm, by the way, just to mention, there is a 12 days of Qi sale going on, and today was the Buddha Palm day. So it didn't, but you have to say you want to be part of the 12 days of Qi sale. So we're not hammering everybody with emails who don't want them. So if that's of interest, then go to our website. There'll be a banner kind of on the main page or anywhere really that lets you sign up for those daily discounts. I think we're on day 3 or 4. Yeah, day 3, I think. So thanks for that answer. Thank you, Wes, for the question. Calvern is asking, I know Qigong can help with pain, but specifically, can it get rid of chronic pain in a 70-year-old body?
A great question. And this is why people do Qigong. Right. You want to get out of pain. And when your energy is circulating, you have less pain. And so in Chinese medicine for thousands of years, they say, flowing water doesn't get stagnant, and the hinges of an active door don't get rusty. And the same is true with your body. So when you keep your body moving in healthy ways, it is one of the best ways to get out of pain. And so that simple answer, relaxed movement, circulating energy, pain gets reduced. And we also know that when we're out of stress, pain is a lot better. That when we're in stress, pain tends to elevate or get exacerbated. And so now we want to calm the nervous system, get out of pain, get our chi circulating, and then really magical, miraculous things start to happen.
Yeah, I think that's sort of right. In Calverna, my thought is that it really doesn't matter the age per se. So depending on what's going on, like for some people, it may be a very quick process of the pain kind of ceasing to be as present. For other people, it may be longer, even if they're quite young. I had a pretty severe back injury in my early 20s and was in chronic pain for about 8 years straight, actually. And I was in my 20s. So everybody's different. Some people are going to live to be 120 years old, and they might be in pain now and then not in pain later after they start doing these practices for a while. But so I think it's the answer is definitely yes. Your mileage may vary and your timeline may vary as well. So we'll see.
Yeah. I do think that's one doorway into this practice is just, oh, my back hurts, I got neck pain, I got a body problem. What can help me? And people try QiGong and it really works, and with positive side effects. So when we take a pharmaceutical, when we take medication, we always have to weigh the benefits with the side effects. And with QiGong, sometimes we get out of pain. We also sleep better. We have more energy. We have less stress. So you have all these wonderful side effects to the practice, which I think people are surprised. Often they say, oh God, my neck pain went away. And now and I'm sleeping better and I have more energy. So it's just, that's what's wonderful about it.
Yeah, it sure is. And just as a note, I see a few people still sending messages to panelists. And so that will drop down above the message box. Please change it to panelists and attendees, and then everybody can see what you're saying. So thanks for that.
Yeah, just have to have a comment. Isn't she a good baby? I mean,
seems like it.
That on week number 1.
Yeah, just hanging out.
Look at that's Qi right there in the moment.
No kidding. Gosh, what a beautiful and calm. Here's a question from Paula. Flows come easily to me, but I'm having trouble with standing postures. On the 5-element test, I scored very high in water and have negative numbers in wood, so no surprise there.
Yeah.
What do you recommend for nurturing the wood energy? And I think really in general, what I would ask is, what do you recommend for those who find standing postures challenging?
Yeah, and you're not alone. Standing postures are challenging. There's great benefit to standing postures. You just have to ease your way into it. And traditionally in China, some teachers will just have you start with standing postures, and it's very uncomfortable. In fact, sometimes they just, first day of class, you hold a standing posture for 30 minutes with very little warm up or flows. And you do that for some weeks or even months before you get to the flows. So what I like to do is just dose the standing postures in between the flows and hold it for a minute. And then the next time, try to do 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes and just work your way up. Because I didn't like standing postures in the beginning, probably because I was doing 30 minutes and I was a beginner, and that was just sometimes torturesome.
You didn't like that, huh?
I didn't like that.
You Westerners, they're all the same.
I was like in Thailand, so I was like, well, what else am I going to do? I gotta pull this together.
Got to do it.
And so,
and we're all grateful that you did, because that allowed you to stay there long enough to have them open some of the other doors for you.
Yeah, and it opened a lot of doors, because a lot of people quit at that point. They're just like, nah, this isn't for me. So, but those flows really feel good, and don't worry about it. If it doesn't resonate for you, do some standing postures once or twice a week. Stay with the flows, get into that, because there's tremendous benefits in the flows. as well as the standing postures.
Mhm.
And then just dose it between the flows. Do some standing postures, 1 minute, 2 minutes, and then occasionally try a 5-minute standing posture practice or a 10-minute, really push it for
Mhm.
yourself and see how that feels and see how it feels afterwards, because it might be challenging during, but afterwards, the energy that you feel is really wonderful.
Here, here. Absolutely. And would you say that that will help nurture the wood energy? Because that was kind of the other part of her question is, what do you recommend for nurturing wood energy? And in a way, it's like the answer is the thing that she's challenged with, and expanding it gradually, I think, is what you just said. And
Right.
so would you say that's the case?
And it will absolutely help with the wood energy, especially the grounding and the rooting quality.
Right.
And then you can also work with some resiliency training, like swimming dragon is a perfect example of what would help with wood energy. There's wood energy flows. And so wood energy being that combination of strength and flexibility, like a tree, you can work it from a variety of different angles. Swimming dragon, tree sways in the wind, and like in embracing the tree, those 3 exercises would be like a perfect short wood element routine.
Excellent. We are going to ask this. Well, I'd love your...
Wood element energy, look at, I've been holding her like this. Embracing the tree has come in handy for parenthood. My structure's intact.
That's great. I love it. The water element question, and actually some physiology question. Lorraine is asking, I've been working on the water element videos and have a bit of a dilemma. When doing squats, do the heels have to keep touching the ground? I assume we're talking about tiger and that type of movement where you lower your butt. I can go pretty low if I let my heels lift, but if I keep my heels touching the ground, then my range of motion's not great. Thanking you for all your insights. Wishing you and your families a very Qi best.
Oh, thank you. And that's okay. Some people's hips aren't flexible enough to do a squat without the heels coming off the ground. So keep doing it. There's benefits of being on the toes even and doing squats. So you will start to gain more and more hip flexibility and low back flexibility as you do it. And you're getting all the benefits too with the squatting and the strength training of the legs and the lower body. So do it as best you can. And also on that note, when you're squatting, like with exercises like the tiger, you listen to your body, listen to your knees and low back, and you don't have to do a full squat all the way to the ground each and every time. In fact, you get a lot of benefits just doing a half squat or going down as low as you can comfortably and doing, 30 or 50 of those kinds of squats is great strength training and building that flexibility in hips and low back. Good for the kidneys. And then gradually, little by little, you get lower and lower if that's what your body is calling for.
Excellent. Thank you.
I'm gonna give you to mommy. I heard a rumble in the jungle.
Uh-oh.
I mean, that's a QiGong move. That means something happened in my diaper. There was a Qi wind in the Lao Gong of my hand. And, oh yeah, feel better now? That's good. Okay, say goodbye.
Beautiful. So David asked a question. Does the middle dantian have a more specific location rather than just to say the heart or center of the chest?
It absolutely does. So the dantians are oriented by looking at some points. For example, lower dantian, you look at the navel, you look at the door of life, and then you look at the pelvic floor, and it's in the middle of all 3 of those points. Now, with the heart center, you're going to look at the throat center as the top. You're going to look at the solar plexus as the bottom. CV17, which is the center of the chest, and Shen Dao, which is a point right behind CV17. So think of it as a diamond shape, in the body, and it's the middle dantian is in the very center of that diamond, if that makes sense. But it really is, because it's diamond, not triangle. It's straight in the center of the chest, right behind CV17, in the middle of the chest. So it's not, let's say, to the left where the heart is, but it's called the heart center, middle of the chest, right in the center of that thoracic cavity.
Gotcha. Excellent. The got a couple of tea questions that I think I will go ahead and field now. One of them is from Julia. She says, I bought some pu'er tea in England. It has a very fishy taste. I heard this can be bad quality or bad storage, so should I throw it away? Well, not necessarily. So yes, usually the thing with tea in general, tea from the tea plant, Camellia sinensis, not herbal teas, is that they really do absorb a lot of aroma or odors from other places. And so if they're stored en route to you near, for an extended period of time near other things like potentially seafood, then that can certainly cause that. The other thing that can cause that is certain microbes, certain things in the tea. So what I would suggest is, however, sometimes underneath that, it can be a perfectly good tea. Typically, the most intense of the fishy taste will rinse out with a few steeps. So what I would do is I would try steep maybe 3 times, just kind of fairly brief, 15 seconds or so each time, and just discard that, and then try the tea and see from there onward how it feels in your body, how it feels energetically, how it resonates with your energy system. Because if it's actually pretty high quality tea and it was just stored badly and you wash off that flavor problem, and underneath it's really a great tea with great energy, you don't necessarily have to throw it away. You might want to store it separately from the other teas that you are enjoying the flavor of right away. But you don't necessarily have to throw it away. If it's actually just poor tea and poorly stored, and therefore it doesn't do you good, then by all means, get rid of it. And I've bought a lot of pu'er teas. I never ended up drinking more than the first couple of sessions, mostly because the energetics weren't very good, but occasionally because the flavor wouldn't kind of rinse out. So that would be my advice. Good luck. Lori is asking, do you ever teach Qi squats? And I know the Qi are these hip gaits, so I assume it has something to do with that. But I've never actually done a Qi squat. So squat. You know what that is?
Yeah, it basically means like the tiger kind of move.
Okay.
Sometimes they do it with the hard version of this is you put your forehead on the wall and you squat with keeping your forehead on the wall and go all the way down and all the way back up. Sometimes that is the full version of a Qi squat, to really open the Qi, which is the gates in the inguinal crease of your legs. So you can do a variety of different ways, but basically I teach it like the tiger, because that way people can go down low, stay up high, not do a full squat, but listen to their body and do it that way. You can try it with your face right close to the wall and going down. That's a really challenging one for me with kind of soccer player hips.
Mm-hmm.
And so I usually just do it, my version, which is without the wall in front, so I can kind of get down into that full squat, but by, kind of listening to the trajectory of my body.
Makes sense. Very good answer. The next question is actually another tea question. So I'll field that. And the question is, in fact, about tea pets. And so the question is, Lori, this is from Lori. She's interested in what to add to a tea table. I saw you have small figures, etc. She's hoping for a tea table for Christmas and wondered how you chose what to put on it besides tea, of course. So just to clarify, for those who don't know what's going on here with this question, these are these little clay, usually clay figurines, sometimes stone, that sit on your tea table, and you pour tea over them. Like when you rinse the pu'er, you pour the rinse over them, as well as sometimes the teapot, or you just pour tea over them cup by cup and just kind of give them a little bit of love. So I have this one, which is some sort of adorable mythical creature from Chinese, kind of a dragon dog thing. And I also have this little Buddha on my tea table at the moment, which has really stained up beautifully. You can see all that stain. In fact, I cleaned it recently, but you can see all the beautiful stain. It was very pale when I got it. And that's part of it, is you're cultivating this patina on these beautiful little figures, and they come along with you on your tea journey. And how do you choose? Well, I tend to like these somewhat more traditional Chinese imagery. And so I have mostly things that you would expect in a Chinese setting, but people, they make all sorts now. And in fact, the first, oh, Lee's got one there.
That
Tell me
guy.
about that one.
This guy, he looks like, Kyla picked him out because she thought he was doing some breakdancing. It's actually Shaolin Kung Fu, but it's kind of like a cool dance move looking character as well. So he's now on my table.
Very cool.
And I have this one, which is the, the frog of abundance with the coin in the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
For good luck. And I think, one thing I heard, Ben, thinking about the 5 elements, you can pick your tea pets or garnishes around your tea table based on the elements. You can, if you wanted a little more metal element, you might have some crystals or metal kind of things. If you want a little more wood element, you might have a bonsai tree. These clays are a great earth element, which the tea is. So the 5 elements are represented in a tea ceremony, and you can add based on your energetic profile if you wanted to do something like that. Right. And really geek out on the 5 elements and the energetics. You could add things that represented different elements.
Yeah, I've actually personally got sort of a not literally physically on the tea table, but right here along with it is just quite a few crystals. So there's some malachite, malachite.
Oh, that's nice.
Some you can see the sheen on that one.
Oh, beautiful.
Got that iridescent quality to it. And so these are actually a big part of my world as well. I really do love crystals and that metal element. So that is part of my tea space, but not right on the table necessarily. Where do you get them? How do you choose them? They're called tea pets, and you really just pick them because you like them. And the primordial tea pet was actually a little figurine of a little boy holding his penis, and you would soak it in cold water overnight for a long, long time, and it would take on all this water, and then you put it on the table. And back when you had to get the tea to the right temperature, the water to the right temperature, by having it sit over a charcoal fire and try to make the fire not produce any smoke, you'd be able to pour the hot water over this little boy that's been soaked in cold water, is full of cold water. And when it was hot enough, it would cause that cold water inside to become steam and spray out across the table in this little stream. So they call it the pee-pee boy. You can still get them all over the place today. And the pee-pee boy is sort of this thing they did to figure out when the water was ready. So now it sort of turned into some more symbolic things and so forth, but really it's fun to be whimsical about it and come with just whatever you're drawn to, whatever you like. So the thing to search out there in the world is tea pets, and you can get them all sorts of places there on the internet. So hope you enjoy those. I certainly enjoy having them. And what I love is watching this patina build up over time. So it's super fun. Enjoy, Lori. Lee, I see you now that your hands are free, typing some answers, I presume.
Typing some answers. Well, yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
People are asking, for some, cancer treatments, any particular practice to keep cancer in remission. And I'm answering with the healing sounds is a great practice to keep cancer in remission, and even to work, if you have a cancer diagnosis, do a lot of healing sounds, especially in the evenings. You can do both vocalized and subvocal. And these practices are in our healing sounds course that we have online. Also, we teach it in the 5-element immersion, the week-long training. And so if you have the time and you want to really commit to that practice and more knowledge, you could do that full week of immersion where you would, as you progress with your practice, you might do 5-element flows during the day and healing sounds at night. And that's some of my, I feel like that's some of the best recommendations for a cancer diagnosis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly. You know, I know a lot of our students have just swear by it. You know, they got amazing results with the whole process of treating cancer. It's basically, you know, the Western treatments are very poisonous, and so the whole idea is we're basically poisoning the cancer cells with chemo and radiation treatments, but we're also poisoning a lot of our own health, you know, our own healthy cells. So the process of getting the healing, innate healing ability turned back on in between those poison treatments is really powerful for making it possible to kind of weather all those poison treatments without just continually degrading in your health. And healing sounds are what a lot of people swear by when it comes to that, as far as really doing a lot of them all the way to and from the cancer center when they're, you know, in the car, doing them at night, every night, doing them during their Qigong practice during the day. So I can vouch for that just from things I've heard from many of the other students that I've talked to when we were all able to get together in person. Mr. Holden has wandered off for a sec. That's one of the reasons that we wanted to do Tea with Lee while he was at home, is because he's got a baby to deal with. And now he's back. Here's a question that I think a lot of people are probably dealing with right now, Mr. Holden, which is from Tib. I am teleworking for up to 12 hours a day. Do you have suggestions or routines or movements to recalibrate after the day is done or during the day? I've become so computer fatigued that it's hard to tune into any online opportunities for recharging. Which makes sense. If you've been on Zoom for 12 hours, going on Zoom for your class may not be as fun.
Oh, I know. So, you know, one thing to do is just learn a routine. Take the 5-element routine. Let's start with that. And, you know, when you get real fatigued, sometimes it's hard to invent your routine on the spot. So have one that you already know, invest the time and energy to learn a specific set of movements. And I'm going to suggest the 5 elements and do, you know, 2 or 3 warm-ups, 2 or 3 stretches, and then that 5-element flow, and just have that be your go-to so that you don't have to think about it. It's habituated and you just finish your workday and do your routine. And that's a good way to do it. But it does take a little bit of learning on the front end. So learn that 5-element routine, or, you know, if any of the video class subscriptions you really like and you've done some classes, you know, stop, start, write some notes and have it, you know, have your list of exercises that you want to do, and then just go off the piece of paper rather than learning from the screen.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, you know, and being able to do it's just sort of memorizing a couple of sequences or learning some of the movements, and then being able to go do them outside, and maybe not for the next little while, depending on where you live. The weather may not be great, but it's really nice to be able to take Qigong away from the screen. And so to kind of learn on screen and then take it with you. Somebody else is suggesting, she says, as Monica says, I do your 7-minute routines during breaks in between classes and they work wonders. Absolutely the case. And that's kind of, you know, getting up, doing a little 7-minute Qi break. If you are on screen anyway, then having, you know, watching the beautiful ocean scenery that we filmed that in. So the 30-day challenge of 7-minute routines is nice just to have in your arsenal when you only have a few minutes. But even just getting up and doing some spinal cord breathing for 2 minutes, or doing a little knocking on the door of life, or any of these things, you know, some of the neck rolls or whatever, any of these things where you can kind of get into your body for a sec and move things around a little bit, especially in the back or the hips, can be extremely helpful for me. By the way, Lee, now that your eyebrows up, so if you wouldn't mind, just tip your screen slightly. There we go. There he is. Oh, You got a lamp growing out of your head. That's what's going on.
That's it. Hear me?
Cool.
Maybe I'll readjust.
Great advice as far as it goes, though. Also, picking something up to take with you. Let's see. Oh, here's another tea question I'll field real quick, and then I think we're going to go to our Facebook friends. Guerrero is asking, hi, Lee and Ben, I bought myself some organic pu'er tea, but the instructions say to put the tea in the pot and then rinse the leaves for 5 seconds and drain before I pour on the boiling water. Is this an error? Do they mean rinse the teapot? No, it's not an error, actually. They actually meant to do a rinse of the tea leaves themselves. And the way that we usually do this is actually with boiling water. So it's basically like a flash steep of the tea. So depending on how you're doing it, that could be a very small amount of water if it's just in the teapot, enough to cover. I usually just I just fill up my teapot once and then pour it out, pour it into the cup, warm up the cup that way. I pour it over the teapots. I pour it over the teapot while it's steeping the first real steep. There's a couple of reasons that we do that. Main one is actually to wake up the tea. With pu'er teas, they've been aging so long, they're very dry. And so when you, if you ever did that thing where you take like a straw wrapper and you dip in water and you watch the water go up the straw wrapper or whatever, it's the same principle. The water will cause the oils in the tea to actually come out to the surface of the leaves. And so if the tea has been dry for a very, very, very long time, aging over several years, then it can kind of really help to kind of wake it up that way. And then the oils start to move to the surface. And then when you do a first steep after the rinse, you get full flavor of the tea. The other reason is because they've been hanging out a long time, then they may be just need a little bit of a rinse just to get anything that may be part of the aging process, a little dust, a little whatever out of there, just kind of rinse it off real quick. So, but mostly it's about actually waking up the tea. There are other teas, really tightly rolled oolongs or what have you, that would also suggest a rinse, just to kind of give it a chance to start to open up and expose more of the leaf surface so you can get the oils out of the tea. Tea is basically an essential oil extraction of these leaves. It's really what it is, just with water. So hope that helps. And I see Zach has come to join us.
Definitely. We've got a bunch of questions from Facebook. The first one's going to be from John. Which healing sounds are best for helping with depression and anxiety?
The best healing sound for depression is the lungs. So in Chinese medicine, the emotional energy is stored in various organs. So when you're thinking of sadness, grief, depression, if you notice your body posture, when we're depressed, the lung qi gets deflated and we start to go down. So as the energy goes down, we start to hold this posture. And when we start to fill the lungs back up, we rise above that depression. We fill our energy systems back up. And that in general starts to help us feel more elevated and happier and whatnot. So first, increase our energy, do breathing exercises, lung QiGong exercises. The pressure points, lungs 1 and 2 can be very helpful. And then depression and anxiety can really go together, because when we don't have enough energy, we get anxious because we don't have enough energy to deal with life's demands. And so anxiety can be a variety of things. It can be an excess of energy anxiety or a depletion of energy anxiety. If it's combined with depression, it's often depletion. And so I would recommend building your qi with, like a program that we have, QiGong for better breathing or QiGong for depression. Maybe alternating those two would be a really great way to treat that lung depleted energy and also get over, to rise above that depression and clear the anxiety.
Perfect. And Tracy's asking about how QiGong can help those with osteoporosis.
Well, we do have the QiGong for healthy bones. And so that is a great workout for bone health. In fact, in that exercise, we do some things like knocking the heels into the ground. And the research shows that women who have done a lot of jump roping is the best prevention for osteoporosis. So weight bearing exercises and jumping seem to be the best exercise. And now once you already have that osteoporosis, osteopenia exercises in that program, we also have bone breathing. a bone breathing practice that starts to infuse the qi into the bones for that bone health. Bones are related to the water element in the kidneys, so we work on that deep energy system as well. So try the Qigong for healthy bones.
Wonderful. And Anna is asking, do you ever do Qigong flows near the ocean or near a lake? By doing this, I can see the difference in my digestion, or is this just a coincidence?
Absolutely. Energy of nature is profound and it's healing on our bodies. It, you know, it helps to heal the body. It helps to heal the mind. So doing Qigong outside can be wonderful. You know, what I love so much about our modern life is that we're starting to get research that verifies ancient Qigong principles. You know, out of Japan, they have all this research on forest bathing and how people are healing cancer by just going out into the woods and you know, bathing and meditating in the forest with the trees. And if you added some Qigong to that, it's going to, you know, be even more beneficial. You know, all the research on grounding and walking barefoot on the earth has so many wonderful benefits. So if you can get out in nature, do some Qigong practice and, you know, double the benefits. We're moving into winter, so it's cold, it might be windy. So if it is cold and windy, the recommendation is not to do Qigong outside until the weather's a little bit more balanced. And if you do Qigong outside and it is cold, just bundle up. You know, we have all kinds of great, you know, athletic gear that keeps us warm even in colder weather. So it's, even though you're outside with the right attire, it's like you're inside.
Wonderful. And Grace is asking, I'll bet I'm not the only one open to appreciating pointers for tools for moving through withdrawal from traditional prescriptions that were given inappropriately.
Oh, yeah. It is a wonderful practice and adjunct because your body wants to recalibrate and rebalance. And so when we have substances that, you know, whether it's alcohol or pharmaceuticals or whatever it is that we want to get off of that the body is addicted to, we can then replace it with an energy that's healthy, that helps us to feel elevated, either detoxifying those pharmaceuticals or those chemicals out of the body quicker with practices like the healing sounds and breath work, and practices that help to reestablish our equilibrium like flows and meditation. And so these are going to be crucial to moving through addiction in a smoother, even more enjoyable way.
Awesome. And Julie is asking, are there movements specifically for bladder health? I have an interstitial cystitis, a bladder disorder which can cause a great deal of pain, spasms, and frequency.
Bladder and kidneys are the paired organs. So the bladder would be the yang organ of the water element. So do more water flows. The fountain, for example, is a perfect exercise that would help for the bladder. You could also do more kidney healing sounds. And in general, getting your body out of stress and into relaxation will be tremendously healing for those internal organs.
Perfect. And John is asking, what are the best standing postures for doing with the healing sounds?
Well, traditionally you don't do standing postures and healing sounds together, but you can. Usually they're done seated and with specific sets of movements. We've been a little more creative in our healing sounds approach, and I've combined some lessons that I've learned from different teachers over the years. If you want, you can do that healing sounds course, and I go through a whole movement practice with sound so that when you're moving your body and then exhaling and squeezing your body around different organs, it's going to help to detoxify. So either do it sitting with certain postures with slow movements to help to stretch the fascia and that particular area of the body, or you can do it with movements. And then as you open and close the body, this moving of the body helps to facilitate what the healing sounds are all about, which is detoxifying and purging out qi that's no longer desirable in the body.
And Susan's asking, I've never felt qi. Why isn't qigong working for me?
You know, some people just aren't sensitive to energy. And it's not that the energy is not there. In the same way right now, you probably don't notice this clothes on your skin. It's like until we put our attention there, like, oh yeah, I can feel the clothes on my skin. And then if you feel the air on your skin, oh yeah, that's a little more subtle. Most of the time we're not aware of that. We're not paying attention to it. So we have to dial in your consciousness, your awareness to the sensation of qi. And sometimes that dialing into that sensation that you're not used to feeling takes a little time for some people. So just keep at it. Focus on relaxation. Focus on what your body is actually feeling. So you might not be feeling qi. What are you feeling? You might be feeling, well, I feel my hands are warm. I feel my body is relaxed. I feel more present. Start to notice those characteristics, because all of those things, relaxation, warmth, presence, is a form of qi. So just ask yourself what you are feeling, maybe make some lists, and then start to expand on what it is you actually are feeling. And you might find that as you write down your list of what it is you're feeling, that those are descriptions of qi in just a different way.
Well put. And Jeff is asking, do you have any specific movements for Parkinson's disease?
Parkinson's disease, I would say focus on the liver and the wood element. And then for Parkinson's, the slow flows, spend much more time doing the slow flows, like 30 to 45 minutes of just slow flows if you can. If you need to sit in a chair and do those movements, it seems to like a paintbrush stroke going through the nervous system. It helps to rewire and integrate nerves and brain.
Perfect. And Carmen is asking, can you tell us about the acupressure point called the solution to 1,000 solutions?
Oh, that's a great name. I had never heard it called that, but it is called the point that treats 1,000 problems or 100 problems. The point is UB43. It's right between your shoulder blades. And the reason it's called the point that treats 100 problems, or what did you say, Zach? The solution to 1,000 solutions?
The solution to 1,000 solutions, yeah.
Is because it has to do with the lung yin energy. And when the lung energy is balanced and we're breathing well, it takes care of so many problems, because you get out of stress, your body's balanced, and all of a sudden, oh, your intelligent system of your mind and body starts to get activated and turned on in a way that allows your body to heal. And that point is very good for that.
And then our last question from Facebook is going to be from Tiffany. Currently, I'm working with the 8 pieces of the brocade, and I would like to build qi more so, but I do not know where to go next.
Okay, so she's working with the 8 pieces of the brocade. Then what you want to do next is the 5-element energy flow, or the microcosmic orbit. So the microcosmic orbit workshop is a great way to build energy, and so is the 5 elements flows with a little bit of standing postures. So I would say, if I'm thinking about building energy, 5-element energy flow, microcosmic orbit, then Buddha palm and iron shirt.
Perfect. And that should wrap it up for Facebook questions.
Thank you, Zach.
Someone did not like to be put down.
Or talking about Buddha palm and iron shirt. Jeez.
Yeah. He was lying down here this whole time.
Oh, well, she seemed pretty chill.
Pretty chill.
Till she wasn't. That's usually how it is with babies.
Almost. You good? Oh, you're gonna eat her little hand. Oh, you're gonna eat your little hand, huh? Yeah, just a little bit.
Well, we've got a few minutes left, and I think we have a few minutes to just bring up a couple of folks briefly. And I see that some folks have their hands raised, but the way we do this, because we don't know if you're still there, is that I'm going to lower all the hands. If you want to come up and ask a question, you can raise your hand in Zoom by going down to participants. That'll bring up a list of folks, and at the bottom of that list is a raise hand button. And I see a couple of folks who had their hands raised have re-raised their hands. That's fine. So I'm going to pull up Mr. I assume Ed Hall first, if the Zoom will cooperate, but it keeps taking away the button because because I guess people keep adding themselves to the list. Hold on a sec, everybody. There we go. Got it. Whew. That was challenging. It was like playing a video game with Zoom. All right, Ed, let's see here. Ed, I believe we can hear you. Can we see your camera?
I can hear you and I can see you. I clicked on something I assumed was going to, it says start my video. Should I do that?
Yes, please.
Well, nothing's happening. Hang on a second.
Well, that's okay. If your computer is having trouble with the video, then we can just proceed with audio. Oh, hey,
Okay.
it's working.
There it is. I see a blank thing. Okay. Now listen, I asked this on a previous tee, and somehow I wasn't able to work through it. I have one leg that's cut off pretty high, and the other one has the hip has been replaced several times, and I have a paralysis of that, so I use a wheelchair all the time. I also have severe stenosis in my spine, which keeps me from sleeping. I get little pieces, and then it feels like it's really jammed up in there. And because of the COVID, I can't go in and get surgery, or even I'm hesitant to even go in and get an injection for a while. I asked previously whether there were exercises I could do sitting and, anything I could do. And I was told to click on something and I wasn't able to do it. And then maybe to go to the Lee Holden site, and I wasn't able to do that just because I'm not that skilled. Okay, so those are, in essence, what can I do sitting to benefit from it, or lying down either?
Right. Oh, thanks, Ed, for your question. And you have a beard that I'm aspiring to get to. So that's a pretty great Santa Claus beard right there.
You got a long way to go, Lee.
So Ed, maybe our team can help you out with getting the Qigong, the seated routine. So we have a great routine that I do the whole thing in a chair. So let's get you that. And then the guided healing meditations that you could do lying down. Just put your headphones on. It's going to guide you through a whole bunch of healing meditations that will help to heal your body. So I would do those two programs, guided healing meditations and the Qigong seated routine. So let's get our team to help you get those two programs. Maybe you can jump on a call with one of them and we'll get you hooked up.
Okay, you give me a phone number or whatever, or she'll call me or hook up, right?
I'll have Ben or Zach tell you how to do that, but yeah, it shouldn't be too hard.
All right,
Zach,
thank you.
Zach, go ahead and put our phone number in the chat for Ed as well. That'd be great. Thank you, Ed. Nice to see you again. And
same here.
Hopefully we can get you.
It feels good. It feels good just listening and seeing. So,
Beautiful.
Okay, have a good one until we meet again.
You too. Thanks, Ed.
It's nice that Santa came to our tea talk today.
It is. What a joy. We didn't expect that.
We gotta get that guy feeling better, because before 2 weeks, he's got a lot of work to do.
He does, exactly. Take some time off for us.
Yeah.
All right, the phone number is in the chat. It is 1-844-4-QiGong. So we did that on purpose. iKissan88. I'm not sure what your name is. So if it's iKissan or Ikisan or Ikisan, I have no idea. So I'm going to ask you when you get here what your name is. There you are. Hi.
Hi.
What's your name?
My name is June, and my cat is Iki-san.
Ah, there we go. Nice to meet you, June.
Yes. Mostly what I want to do is comment. I live in France. We've had serious lockdowns. We're under lockdown right now. But last March, when this all began, I had been doing Qigong in a class, which was canceled. And I thought, well, what an opportunity. I'm going to do a lot more Qigong. So I got a lot of programs from Lee. I've done Iron Shirt. I've done the Silk Brocade. And a problem that I had been having at that time concerning my hip now has practically been eliminated. Wow. I no longer need a cane. I'm 75 years old and I walk like I'm 25 again. And all I can say is thank you. It's just so wonderful. I'm so pleased.
Oh, thank you for coming on and sharing that. I think we just love hearing these inspirational stories because it gives people hope. You know, when we're in pain or have issues, it's sometimes it's really hard. It can be mentally, emotionally draining. It's hard on our bodies. And then when we, you know, listen to people like yourself, committed to the practice and done some work on themselves and got those benefits, it is wonderful. And isn't the gift of health the best present that we can ever give ourselves and receive? So wonderful.
Absolutely. It was curious while doing the Qigong exercises, my hips did not bother me. It was really only when I tried to walk. Oh. But now I can walk. And I'm still doing the Qigong, huh? I'm not giving that up.
Stay in the flow. Thanks so much for sharing.
Yeah, thank you. That's really why we're here, you know. And as Lee was saying so long ago, it's like when we find things like this and we get such amazing results and we want to share with our friends and we want to share with it's like, this just works so good. You need to know about it. You know, having an inspirational story like yours is really a great way to inspire people who maybe wouldn't have tried it otherwise. So please, you know, I thank you so much for sharing, and please share with the rest of the world too. And that's why I'm here, you know, as the co-founder. I started this business because I was like, people need to know about this and nobody knows about it. So so glad that you found us as well and are getting such great results. Congratulations. It's really moving.
Oh, I'm so happy. And I will continue Qigong for the rest of my life.
So great, Jude.
You're here.
Thank you. And good night, I guess. It's late over there.
Good night here. Yes, it's good night here.
Cheers.
Well, that might be a good way to wrap things up. It
brings us to time to go.
Well, peace, blessings, good chi, and cheers to everybody. Thanks so much for joining me and getting to meet Harper. I think she did a pretty good job on her first day at work with Dad.
I'll say.
Gosh.
Bring your daughter to work days.
Participating and meeting this little one.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and until we chi and tea again. Happy holidays, everybody. Much love and light.
Until then, thank you so much for joining us. Cheers, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye, all.